what we see is, why is e-commerce eroding price? Well, generally, and maybe I'll go through these real quick and then kind of get to the question here, or the meat of it, which is, first off, e-commerce is eroding price because of broad distribution. So, traditionally everyone wanted broad distribution because that's how you sell more stuff. And it's like in a retail kind of brick and mortar mindset, you want as much distribution as possible. That's why you use distributors. That's why you have many retail partners. That's why you just get, geographic expansion, international expansion. It's all about, kind of more doors, so to speak. The issue is that with the rise of e-commerce and really a technology sale and everyone buying either on D2C, buying on marketplaces, you kind of get this price transparency that you never had. You used to have discrete channels like club, convenience, retail, specialty retail, that you could have different prices, or the retailers could set their own price, and it didn't really affect the customer that much. But now that everyone has a smartphone too, right? So you have these forces that are happening with the rise of smartphones, the rise of more e-commerce or online shopping, that gives everyone visibility in that what everyone is selling the price for. And so, I would say that, price differentials used to actually be your friend in some ways. And now price transparency creates a lot of channel conflict, because as you see on this third piece of the slide, everyone feels compelled to match the price so they don't lose the sale with the customer. And that in turn creates a lot of just helter-skelter kind of behavior around, holy crap, how do I stabilize pricing across all channels? Because actually every customer wants to go to the channel that's most convenient for them, right? You might want the 2-day shipping. You might want to buy it right there within the store. You might want to have a direct relationship with the D2C so that you can get loyalty points or better warranty coverage or better customer service or whatever it looks like. So there are obviously really nice merits to each of the channels that you can go into, but having price discrepancies in the mix, you can really kind of shoot yourself in the foot. So Jared, maybe I'll kind of get to you on this front. How are you seeing, or how have you seen, maybe even in your career, the impact of price erosion? And maybe what are some of the things you guys have done to either address it or mitigate it or plan for it? Because obviously, again, it's a big problem we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with Amazon, closely for 12 to 15 years, and I've seen a lot of different things and happen with price erosion. Earlier and at Outlet, we've really done our best to eliminate, take the learnings that I've had over a long period of time and implement those learnings to eliminate price erosion as much as possible. And sometimes, it can happen really quick. We had an experience almost 2 years ago with Amazon where we saw within a matter of days, our price drop from, like $60 in price in just a couple of days with a few retailers. It only takes one rogue seller to have it go that quick and drive that price that low. I've also seen it happen very, very slow, and sometimes you don't even notice that it's happening, over a period of months. You just start just $1 at a time, 50 cents at a time, you start seeing your price erode. And so, what Outlet really does to, and what I've seen really work is the first thing is you've got to be choosy. You know who the partners are, who the shady business people are that might go in and, drop price because they can't win any way else other than dropping price. So you want to look for partners that add value on their own merits. And probably the biggest thing that we've done is, at Outlet, we don't work with any distributors. We have a direct relationship with all of our retail partners, and that way it really allows us to control our distribution. So, that's been our experience, and not saying that it's perfect, but I think we are pretty good at managing our pricing and eliminating or limiting the price erosion.
Yeah, no, that's really fascinating. And in fact, we had a comment come in while you were chatting that I think I'll add here. because I think it's super relevant to what you were just talking about. It says, for some businesses, online retailers were supplied by distributors in the past, but now brands are bypassing the distributor and selling directly to online retailers. As such, working directly with online retailers is increasing profits for now, which I think is obviously true, right? Like if you bypass that kind of point of friction and go directly to the retailer, you can actually, in some ways, improve your profit for that specific channel, assuming that your price doesn't get eroded, which maybe is, is kind of probably some of the challenges that we see with brands working directly with Amazon, is Amazon isn't necessarily willing to, respect those prices or their MAP policies. And so even though, quote unquote, your margin could go up because you have a direct relationship with Amazon, if the price drops, then overall that can start that, they're going to come back, ask for concessions. They're going to ask, your annual negotiations. The price they're paying today will not be the price they pay in a year. So that can be tricky. Steve, what kind of friction have you seen with, on this subject, I guess, related to just price erosion overall, and this dynamic of, e-commerce creating this like super transparent, paradigm within customers and within retailers that everyone gets to see the price now, and how these kind of price escalations and price wars impact some of the brands that you've engaged with?
Yeah, I mean, looking at this slide, I mean, none of these three things are new. It's just that e-commerce has created, I mean, it's really exacerbated the challenge. And the challenge is a fundamental loss of control that brands are seeing. And you might be a brand saying, well, I've sold through two-tier distribution for 50 years. So like going away from that model would never work. We need that to support our brick and mortar channels, which are much larger than e-commerce today. Totally understandable. But you still have to figure out a solution to this fundamental lack of control. And again, the best brands, or the brands that are really the leaders in this space, are identifying where these leaks are happening and how that's really disrupting kind of what that blast radius is from that one distributor that's selling, to different retailers that are ultimately selling on Amazon or Walmart or different marketplaces. But the price matching is a really interesting concept, and I mean, it's obviously something we all take advantage of, and it's a great program. But in a lot of ways, what we're seeing now is what it's doing is it's trying to just find a way to mitigate a challenge that the brick and mortar retailers are seeing, and keep them happy, because you're seeing overall price erosion and brand erosion. And so your Best Buys, your PetSmarts, your REIs are calling you up saying, hey, I can't compete on your business. The Amazon dilemma has created an environment that I can't find a profitable space. So what do? You go and you fix it by giving them a short-term solution of price matching. And so we've seen brands, some cutting massive checks monthly and quarterly, hundreds of thousands of dollars, to really just put a Band-Aid on a problem that is not going to go away. It's just going to get larger. And until you dive down into your business and understand fundamentally what is creating this loss of control and how do I go and address it, those checks are going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and this challenge is going to keep getting larger.